What is a dirty joke that'll go over innocent minds? Remember when you were a kid and used to blow bubbles? Well, he's out of jail now and asking about you. Reproductive health clinic with a sign that says for family planning and contraceptives. Come through back door. How does a woman scare a gynecologist? By becoming a ventriloquist. What's better than having roses on your piano? Having tulips on your organ. True story. My wife is a big fan of country music. Hey, she's from Arkansas. Give her a break. One of her favorite songs has always been, "If I said you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me?" She never got the double meaning until I explained it to her. OP's mom can't wrestle worth a damn, but you should see her box. An old Red Skelton joke. What's the difference between a pickpocket and a peeping Tom? A pickpocket snatches watches. A cab driver is driving a lone woman to her destination. The cab gets a flat tire, so the cabbie gets out to fix it. The woman, trying to be helpful, asks, "Do you need a screwdriver?" The cabbie replies, "Thanks, but I need to fix this flat first." I remember this from Call Me Carson, where they were comparing heights and one of them was 6'4" while another person was 6'1", and he commented, "My other 3 inches went somewhere else." Man complains to his friend. His friend, "Man, you don't understand. Chunks is my dog." One of my favorites. "Dad, how comes my sister is called Teresa?" "Because your mum loves Easter and it's an anagram of Easter." "Thanks, Dad." "No problem, Alan." What do you do when a whale comes in your window? Swim. My mom tucks me in every night. She always wanted a girl. You know how to tell male deer from female deer. The males are hornier. Told to me at a very young age. Thought, oh yeah, the males do have horns. Huh? Took a while for me to get why my dad was pissed at his friend for telling a joke to his young son. Why don't lesbians cook? They always eat out. An elephant looks at a man and screams, "You breathe out of that." Why is Santa's sack so heavy? He only comes once a year. When do you punch a midget? When he tells your girlfriend her hair smells nice. A woman sat down and said, "Bartender, I'll have a double entendre," so he gave it to her. I'll tell it to you when you're older. But Danny's mom lets him. If you love Danny's mom so much you can go live with her. Sniff. Just like your father did. A woman has 2 sets of lips, one to argue, and one to reconcile. One that stands out is in Aladdin, the 90s one. The genie says when the castle is being attacked, the castle isn't supposed to be shaking until the honeymoon starts. Giving someone a pearl necklace for Christmas. I was at a friend's house for Christmas Eve dinner. Years ago, friend of mine made an off-color joke about giving his girlfriend a pearl necklace when they get home for Christmas Eve gift. His cousin, who was maybe 10 at the time, didn't get the joke. Even asked if it would be a black pearl necklace. I looked the kid in the eye, and told, "You remember this conversation. In about 5 years or so he'll get why everyone's laughing so hard." He's 27 now. I still joking with him about it. Why did the sperm cross the road? I wore the wrong sock today. Not really dirty, but here goes. What does an elephant say to a naked man? How do you breathe with that thing? My religious teacher used a "that's what she said" gif on a quote by an inspiring woman and posted it on Insta story. What kind of file can turn a 10mm hole into a 40mm hole? A pedophile. What's the hardest part about breaking up with a Japanese girl? You have to drop the bomb twice before she gets the message. What's gray and comes in buckets? An elephant. A family of 3 moles are burrowing underground when Papa Mole stops and pokes his head above ground. He takes a big sniff. I smell pancakes. Mama Mole pokes her head above ground next to Papa Mole and takes a big whiff. I smell cookies. Baby Mole takes a big sniff. I smell molasses. Watch old Bugs Bunny cartoons. They are full of them. Why did Michael Jackson like to date 36-year-olds? There's 30 of them. Judge. So let me get this straight, Mickey. You want to divorce Minnie BC? She's crazy. Mickey Mouse. No, Your Honor. I said she was goofy. Heard this as a kid. Told it to my teachers because it made adults laugh. I didn't get it then. Why do blondes have bruises around their belly buttons? Because blonde guys are stupid too. I can vouch for this one since I told the joke to my mother when I was a kid and didn't understand what I was saying. I still remember the shock on her face. How does a woman hold her liquor? By the ears. What two things in the air can get a girl pregnant? Her knees. What do you do when your girlfriend starts smoking? Slow down. Why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll? Ken came in another box. Reminds me of the old joke. Girl asks for a Barbie and G.I. Joe doll set. Mom, but Barbie comes with Ken. Girl, nah. Barbie fakes it with Ken. She comes with G.I. Joe. Two nuns are out cycling. One says, I've never come this way before. Second nun, it must be the cobbles. How's your head? No complaints. What's the difference between a garbanzo bean and a chickpea? I don't pay $200 to have a garbanzo bean in my mouth. My grandpa always told me, when I was younger, to tell people I got my red hair from the mailman whenever they ask where I got it from. I never understood why people would laugh at my response because my dad is literally a mailman. Once I got old enough I fully understood the joke. I really wish my grandpa was still around so he could have seen my reaction. I only eat cucumbers that have been in a house overnight with a teenage girl. Why are cucumbers sold wrapped in plastic? So you can have a salad the next day. Not really a joke so much as a comment. When I was young, my dad would say that he and my mom would go park at the waterfront and watch the submarine races. I think I was like 30 when it actually occurred to me. My mom once bought my young about 6 years old son a shirt with a picture of Oscar the Grouch saying, I like it trashy. She didn't understand why I said it was inappropriate for him to wear. A baby born underwater can live the rest of its life that way. What's the hardest part about eating a vegetable? The wheelchair. What did Cinderella say when she got to the ball? Gagging sound. Pretty much most of the first Shrek movie. Most people also don't realize that it's basically a giant you to Michael Eisner, the CEO of Disney at the time, the founder of DreamWorks. Jeffrey Katzenberg used to work for Disney but was forced out by Eisner, so DreamWorks was created and Shrek was made as a way to get back at him. How do they separate the men from the boys in the Navy? With a crowbar. Mary had a little lamb. She also had a bear. I often saw her little lamb, but I never saw her bear. Grandfather said this to me when I was a kid. Didn't understand it the first time. Had to get my grandmother to explain. Why did the seaman cross the road? I wore the wrong socks. How do you find a blind guy at a nude beach? It's not hard. How do you make a hormone? Don't pay her. My dad told me this one when I was a teen. Blame him. What's the difference between Cirque du Soleil and a lineup of Las Vegas showgirls? One of them is a cunning array of stunts. What's the difference between a garbanzo bean and a chickpea? I've never had a garbanzo bean on my chest before. Why did the Amish girl get excommunicated? Too Mennonite. Girl, my lips are very dry. Boy, doesn't it hurt when you walk then? It doesn't actually hurt for women to walk around with dry lips. If that was true, my wife would complain about that constantly since according to her I make her drier than desert rock. A penguin takes his car to the mechanic. The mechanic says give me an hour to diagnose the problem. The penguin goes to Dairy Queen but gets the ice cream all over his face and body because he has to eat it without hands. So he goes back to check on his car. The mechanic says, looks like you blew a seal. The penguin replies, no, it's just a little ice cream. What did the potato chip say to the battery? If you're ever ready, I'm Frito-Lay. Once I told a dirty joke to my father as a child. I didn't understand what I meant and completely got it wrong. The joke was, how does a bald man run his fingers through his hair? He cuts holes in his pockets. My foolish child brain thought it meant that the man's hair fell out into his pockets. My dad is bald, so I thought it would be hilarious. The day I realized what it meant, I audibly gasped. Kumquats are the dirtiest innocent thing. They're rich in vitamin C. I came into some money recently. Next time I'll use a towel. What did Cinderella say when she got to the ball? Gark. From Victorious. Dude, after getting a bad grade in an exam, how come a person goes from an A to a D? Savage gal. Happened to me in 8th grade. Lines of a kiddie show, which obviously went over all kiddie minds. I was hoping for jokes that also make sense a non-dirty way. Sad face. So much of Rocco's modern life. Chokey's chicken is the most obvious ongoing joke of the show, but there were definitely tons of adult jokes scattered across episodes that were one-timers. The show seems like a guide on how to get dirty jokes past senses that children won't pick up on. What did one lesbian vampire say to the other? I'll see you next month. What starts with P and ends with orn? ... Popcorn, you slutty whore. I can vouch for this one because my son told his grandma I was mortified and she didn't get it. One pirate says to the other, "Did you know there's a steering wheel in your pants?" The other says, "Ah, and it's driving me nuts." Why was the guitar teacher arrested? For fingering a minor. My boyfriend told the chickpea joke while at dinner with my parents, and neither of them got it. So that's my vote. What's the difference between a chickpea and a garbanzo bean? I've never had a garbanzo bean on my face. I don't understand why all the German girls yell their age at me while we are having sex. Straight to hell for that one. Closing parenthesis. What did the deer say when she came out of the woods? I'll never do that for $2 again. Q. Who's the most popular guy at a swingers party? A. The guy that can carry a dozen donuts without using his hands. Q. Who's the most popular woman at a swingers party? A. The woman that can eat that last donut without using her hands. A guy with a dozen penises. Impressive. What does a pregnant 14-year-old girl and the baby inside her have in common? Their mums are gonna kill them when they find out. Man goes into his doctor's examination room and looks him square in the eye and says, "Give it to me straight, doc." The doctor replies solemnly, "I can't do that, I'm afraid. We're both men." Okay, my dad always said this one. Why do mermaids wear seashells? Because bee shells would be too small. Did you hear that they found a hole in the wall of a nudist colony? Police are looking into it. I remember watching an episode of The Simpsons when I was a little kid, and Lisa wins an essay contest. So the family goes to DC. Marge and Homer are looking at the Washington Monument and Marge whispers something in Homer's ear. To which Homer replies, "Oh Marge, grow up." Yeah, I didn't get that one. I also didn't understand that Lisa witnessed a blatant exchange of money between politicians for a rather heinous act. The Simpsons slipped a great one past the censors in the Tobacco episode. There's a store called Sneed's Feed and Seed, formerly Chuck's. Think about it. The name of the newest South Park video game went over my head until I heard my son read it aloud in a store. South Park, the fractured but whole. Why did the chicken cross the basketball court? He heard the referee was blowing fouls. When the river runs red, take the dirt road. It takes a brave man to swim in bloody waters. It takes a hero to drink of them. How do you get a nun pregnant? Dress her up like an altar boy. 3 nuns are sitting on a park bench. A flasher comes by and gives them a good look. 2 of the nuns have a stroke. The 3rd couldn't reach. Ironically, a friend of mine told a reasonably NFSW joke at work, with no clue it was a joke, because she's so innocent. Long story short, she looked at the Scottish flag and announced loudly, in a room of 50+ people, "St. Andrew's Cross. You can't nail anybody to that." At which point my kinky friend and I both simultaneously did spit takes. My grandpa told this one 100 times and I didn't understand until I was older. How do you make a hormone? Don't pay her. I said this one to Auntie Shirley when I was 10, didn't understand it. What did the hurricane say to the coconut tree? Hold on to your nuts, this is no ordinary blowjob. Blonde goes to the doctor, gets a thorough examination. Doctor, I think you have acute angina. Blonde, thank you very much. Not really a joke, but very few people notice that a starfish, crabs and a sandy squirrel are found in Bikini Bottom. Sandy's full name is Sandy Cheeks. What's the difference between priests and acne? Acne waits till you're 13 to come on your face. There is, or at least was, a restaurant in Las Vegas called the Pink Taco. We had a family gathering in LV for a wedding when I was about 14. I had been to that restaurant once before and I really wanted to go again, so I suggested to the group. No one was really interested except for my cousin's husband. I said, rather loudly, "Okay Joe, you and me will pink taco it up." I did not understand why it was so funny and he was so embarrassed. I got kicked out of the Cub Scouts for eating a brownie. Q. What do hillbillies do for Halloween? A. Pumpkin. A nurse walks into the doctor's office where a very sick man has been waiting patiently. She approaches him with a clipboard with all of his information attached to it. As she greets him, she pulls a rectal thermometer out of her shirt pocket, then says, "Oh great. Some asshole has my pen." Why didn't Barbie ever get pregnant? Because Ken came in a different box. What's better than roses on your piano, tulips on your organ? What do you call a hooker with a runny nose? Full. I told this joke to 4 of my grandma's church friends when I was 6 cause I thought it was a church joke. Only one laughed. 3 nuns die and show up to the pearly gates. Peter. Hello sisters. To get into heaven you must answer one question correctly. To the first nun. Peter. Sister. Who what the first man? Nun 1. Adam. Peter. Correct. Come on in. To the second nun. Peter. Sister. Who was the first woman? Nun 2. Eve. Peter. Correct. Welcome to heaven. To the last nun, who is very nervous. Peter. What was the first thing Eve said to Adam? Nun 3. Thinking aloud. Wow, that's a hard one. Peter. You're right. Come on in, sister. My favorite joke was on an episode of The Simpsons. I forget which episode it was, but there was a sign in front of a feed store that read, "Sneed's Feed and Seed," formerly Chuck's. Mary wanted to get married in December in hopes that it would snow on her wedding day. Unfortunately, there wasn't any snow on her wedding day, but she got 8 inches on her honeymoon. What does a woman put behind her ears to attract the men? Her ankles. Just look up that innocent girl meme for the repository on this. I've so far failed to see the innocent meaning of all the jokes in this thread, so either the bad or Jesus really did a lot of work when he died for my sin.